All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Fengyun Dota 2 tournament. Of course, we have a best-of-3 series between Tongfu Wanzhou and Team DK. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Beyond the Summit. My name is Matt. With me tonight is none other than, of course, Baseskip. How are you, sir?
Doing very well, Matt. Looking forward to a lot of Dota this evening, or this morning, I guess, depending on where you are in the world.
That's true. We have, what, 4 best-of-3 here?
Four best of 3.
Yeah, that's a lot of Dota. It's a lot of Dota coming out here, and it's always good. You know, a lot of Chinese Dota coming here, and you know, they just play so exceptionally well. I'm excited to see what DK is going to do with this draft, and this is the best-of-3 right here. Of course, Tongfu Wanzhou has a little bit of a mountain to climb, as, of course, they had a rough time in the WPC Ace League. We'll see what they want to do here with this draft base.
Yeah, I mean, they went... Okay, they didn't really go 0-36, but they went 0-36. Let's not beat around the bush here.
Right.
They had a pretty bad time. So I guess for anybody who doesn't remember WPC Ace, Tongfu Wanzhou were WPC A. I think some of the BTS guys also affectionately dubbed them Team Adidas at some point. So that's who these guys are. They actually ended up forfeiting their final game of the competition as well, which was supposed to be against IG. So IG got a walkover in that one. But they're back. It's the same lineup, and we'll see if maybe they've been playing in some smaller competitions or anything like that along the way.
Yeah, and hopefully they've kind of refined their play style here, and they're going to need it up against Team DK, a very strong team. Obviously, we know a lot about them from not only the Chinese side of things, but obviously they competed in MLG Columbus. They did very well there, getting, of course, to the finals against Speed Gaming. They start out with a really strong draft, going with the Clockwork band, the Bristleback band as well. No picks just yet. The Elder Titan band on the other side. What do you think we'll see here with the first pick, if we, get anything crazy or something like that?
I'm not sure. I feel like DK are probably going to play it fairly safe. It is a best of 3, but there's no lower bracket until you get to the semis. So I'm expecting them to, maybe they just pick up Isis hero here, maybe they just get their hands on the Timbersaw and call it a day. I'm not sure. DK could play. They have a couple of different styles, and I guess it depends on how much of a threat they think Tongfu WZ are to pull out a game or two here.
Yeah, they're going to go with the Alchemist pick. It's a hero we've seen a lot of recently. I think if you look back at WPC Ace and, of course, the playoffs, that hero was banned pretty much every game, and for good reasons. Really strong hero.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the Alchemist a lot. Some teams still run him mid. For the most part, he's still a support, but not too surprising to see him. Unstable Concoction is just an absolutely absurd ability. I mean, I don't really know if it matters what else the hero has in his kit. That spell is crazy.
It really is. Physical damage, you get a medallion up on the Alchemist, it's pretty disgusting early on here. But the other side, this is Timbersaw, a good draft for WZ so far.
Yeah, it's just solid heroes, really. Nothing too surprising. We've seen the Visage, we've seen the Timbersaw over the course of the last couple of months. The Visage, of course, did get nerfed a little bit recently, but nothing that really changes, who he is as a hero. So, Tongfu WZ looking pretty strong. Timbersaw could be their mid, could be their off lane. Nothing decided just yet, and we still need to see a lot more of this draft to really know where either team is taking.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's so much that you can do with these lineups so far. Obviously, it really, comes down to the last couple of picks here. We'll see what they want to do. Draft's going pretty quickly so far. You can see 133 left on the reserve time right now for Team DK. The Alchemist might go support, might go for, of course, that mid hero, but I'm not sure. Obviously, we just talked about it. Rubik's going to come out. Another hero we've seen a lot of, especially in Chinese Dota. They really value this pick, and for good reason. Has a really high skill cap in terms of what he can accomplish, what he can steal. I think this is a good pickup for Team DK and their supports.
Yeah, I don't really like the Rubik pickup here. I feel that Rubik in general as a support now is a little bit lackluster. He's slow. He's got fairly low range on telekinesis, at least at early levels. It does scale up a little bit. And I really feel to make the Rubik pickup worth it, you have to make some really big plays. So I'm kind of surprised to see DK picking it up so early. I mean, it does roam nicely with the Alchemist, but to me it feels kind of bland. And I'm saying this with Rubik as my favorite hero. I just don't think he's very well suited at the moment.
Yeah, we'll see what he can pick up here, and the skills and the plays he needs to make are pretty high, as they do have the Timbersaw and Visage they have to deal with. The bans are going to come out next, the Nyx Assassin, which was, seeing a lot last night for the side of Tongfu, and they did very well with it. It's a hero that can gank very efficiently. We see him more so getting solo experience, whether in the off lane, solo safe lane, more often than not. Doom coming out as well. Another important thing to note is that Slark is still available. That's a hero that's seen a lot of play as well, and for good reason. I mean, Pounce is pretty good. Obviously, his ultimate, very strong. Some people call him borderline imbalanced. I'm one of those people. I'm not sure if that's the case, but good hero all around.
Yeah, I've seen the Slark a little bit. He does seem. I mean, his biggest weakness has always been team fights, and some teams know how to play against it. It's always interesting when a new viable hero enters the pool to see what teams are doing with it, and it's always nice to just see more heroes being picked up because it makes the draft more interesting. And yeah, like you mentioned, Slark's just going to be removed here. DK don't have to deal with it.
It's annoying. It's like slippery too, and he does have a bit of a downside when it comes to team fights, like you mentioned. Dark Pack's okay, but it's like you get the pounce, and it's more of like that ganking hero, sort of like a Clinks in certain aspects, which has seen a little bit of play as well. But
10 seconds
they're not going to worry about the Slark right now for Team DK. They're going to ban that out. One more ban to go for Tongfu,
5 seconds
Wanzhou.
remaining.
They have the Visage, they have the Timbersaw. Might go for maybe just banning out a carry hero, another support for DK to pick up. Even though they have that Alchemist right now, maybe in a mid hero right now. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe even an offlaner. They banned out the Doom. They banned out the Lifestealer earlier than that. Doom has seen a lot of play as well, just because he has the silence potential up against the Timbersaw, which is always nice. I don't know, man. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with this last ban here for Tongfu Wanzhou. They seem to be taking a lot of time to think about it, though.
I think both teams are just trying to get some information out of the other at this point. I mean, neither is really heavily committed into the kind of strategy that they're going for, though they have to start doing that. So they get rid of the Kanka, one of Mushi's signatures, and just going to pick up the Dragon Knight. So it's a pretty safe setup from Tongfu Wanzhou so far. They've got 2 fairly beefy cores, still have room to be as greedy as they need to with their carry, and well, DK as well. They haven't really shown us anything too concrete. You mentioned that the Alchemist could even be offlane, and I think we've seen LGD China notably doing that a little bit recently, so definitely an option as well.
I mean, that's just like a hero that can go anywhere on the map. It's just like, yeah, we'll just send him in the offlane. He'll be fine. No, you want to use some support? That works too. Mid lane, excellent. Just great stuff there. But DK, they've got reserve time. You mentioned the Dragon Knight pickup. They can play that mid. They can play that as the carry role, which some Chinese teams like to do. The Leshrac coming out. DK, Rubik. They go for the Alchemist Rubik Leshrac, which is just a strong killing potential. If that's a tri lane right there, that could kill people really easily. It's kind of gross how it works. So.
Yeah, I mean, it could be your tri-lane, it could be the Alchemist mid with Rubik and Leshrac roaming, which is going to make life really difficult for the Dragon Knight. Also gives them a little bit of extra push power, so maybe we're going to start looking towards DK, picking up that Luna for burning, just get a fast mech up on the Alchemist over at mid lane, and then just start 5-manning the game out. I mean, Tongfu Wanzhou have a little bit of counter push in Chakram and Breathe Fire, but that's about it. But I think the Dragon Knight has to start worrying for his life a little bit. But Tongfu, they're just going to pick up a roamer of their own, and I think mid lane's really going to be a battlefield this game.
It really should be. With the roamers, like you mentioned, Crystal Mane's one of the best of them with Frostbite available. This is not the best roaming support, but can do well with Grey Chill and, of course, Soul Assumption. Leshrac and Rubik's Suns are available on the other side for TK. So yeah, I mean, they're going to try to pick up kills as quickly as possible. That may be kind of an indication of where this game goes, is who does well mid, who gets the roams early on here. DK hasn't really picked up their mid hero just yet, not that we know of anyway. It could be that Alchemist like we talked about, but they still have time, obviously. Plenty of reserve time left for both teams. Crystal made a very strong here with the Arcane Aura. Kind of helps out Timbersaw a little bit because he does have mana issues with Chakram early on. Now that's been nerfed a little bit, but still. Very strong draft from Tongfu Wanzhou. They have the Visage, the Crystal Maiden as their supports, and honestly, I like their draft so far a lot. But well, that's an Outworld Devourer for DK. Very nice.
Dire team ban.
Okay, so I'm interested to see where this heads, because now I think the OD is definitely heading, well, maybe definitely heading mid. I mean, you are picking an OD into potentially being ganked by a Crystal Maiden, so there's always that to keep in mind. But I don't know if DK really run it safe lane, so. Guess it's probably just going to be mid. We'll see what happens. I was considering maybe something like a Pugna for DK. I know that they have run it once or twice in the past, and you've already got the Leshrac, you've already got the potential to pick up a fast mech somewhere, and just kind of go for broke 5-manning, but with the OD, I don't think it's necessarily on the cards. I think DK are just going to play this really safe, just pick up a true farmer for burning.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I don't think Pugna is going to be really their kind of pick this time around. The Invoker is going to get banned out, though, from Tongfu. They're a little worried, surprisingly enough. And I like the OD pick a lot. I think it works really well. It's kind of that semi-carry. You get him some farm, at least a little bit, and he'll do very well early on in the game. Yeah, I mean, this is and I also like their lineup because you don't really know where everything's going. You mentioned how, you're not really sure, is the Alchemist going to go mid, where are they going to send everything? OD could be that safe lane farmer, we're not sure yet. And that's, Tongfu's lineup is a little bit more set in stone. Obviously, the Dragon Knight and Timbersaw might switch around, and even Dragon Knight could be that safe lane farmer as well, but still, good picks coming out from both sides right now. The reserve time coming through from DK to see what they want to ban out next. And I think it should be a carry here, although they do have that Dragon Knight. I'm not 100% sure, though.
Yeah, I think DK is probably just heading mid. We're probably looking at one of your relatively early to mid game farmers. I mean, the OD is going to be sitting back a little bit, so I think Tongfu, Wanzhou do have some space to be a little bit greedy if they want to, but they also need to be careful because DK always had that last pick to snap something like the like your Pugna or your Death Prophet, or when XYZ really aggressive early pushing hero, which could punish something too greedy in this spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. So they will have a next pick coming out right now, and you mentioned how they're just gonna, they have that DK mid. They'll probably take out the semi-farming heroes, and they do that with the Luna Band here coming out from DK. So very smart pickup for them to make sure that's gone. Hero that's very strong with Moonglaves. Obviously, Eclipse is an excellent fighting ability early on in the game. But Wanzhou, they're going to take some time here with 27 seconds left on reserve time to think about what they want to do with their lineup. They have multiple ways they can go. They can really just decide, do we want to go this way, that way, or another way with the draft that we've got so far. And in the end, not quite sure.
The really scary thing for Tongfu WZ here is that they can't pick a hero that's awful in the tri-lane, because if DK see that they have a really weak defensive tri-lane, DK can just go get up in their face with an aggro try. So at this point, the drafter is thinking, okay, do I have strong enough solos to deal with DK if they choose to go for an aggro try? Like, are my solos good enough to deter them from running an aggressive tri-lane? But mention the Pugna, it's actually going to be Tongfu WZ taking it here.
I like this because they have the Dragon Knight already. It gives them a little bit more pushing potential, especially with Visage getting his birds, and early team fight potential. And that's really what this draft is all about, I feel like. So not a bad pick coming out from WZ.
Yeah, and really nice against the OD as well. You're going to force him to move towards a BKB, which he doesn't really want to do. And
reserve time.
Yeah, it does cause some deviations in his build a little bit. So I like the pickup, and like you said, they've already got the Dragon Knight, so they've got a little bit more of the mid to late game already secured there if you can get his levels. And we'll see what the plan's going to be for DK. They've got an alright teamfight lineup early, but okay, just going for the Venomancer. So looks like pretty aggressive from Team DK here.
Yeah, and with the support, you don't know. I mean, it's a Venomancer, and we've seen them play it up in multiple lanes. They have XPX playing it right now, as you can clearly see, and it's still kind of like confusing as where they're going with the lanes, but I like it a lot because it's a strong hero, obviously wards the poisonous thing as well. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with this so far, though.
For DK, I think for the most part it's players on their lanes, so it'll be, I guess it'll be Ice just offlane Venomancer trying to hold on to that tier 1 as long as possible. They're on the Radiant, so it's pretty safe over on the Radiant offlane. So long as you don't move out too far, you can just sit there and get some pretty good farm, pretty good experience. Right. And I would guess that Lanham and Dai are probably just gonna roam around for the most part. The one interesting thing to me is that burning is going to be on the Alchemist, so it is going to be a farming, or at the very least maybe aggressive tri-lane Alch.
Yeah, and it's something we haven't seen a whole lot of, which is actually kind of surprising. I mean, Alchemist has fallen out of favor in that farming role for whatever reason, but Burning seems confident in it, and he will pick up that hero right now. So we are going to jump into the game, ladies and gentlemen. It's game number 1 of a best-of-3 series between DK and Tongfu Wanzhou, and let's do some introductions. So on the side of Tongfu, we're going to have MT on the Timbersaw in the top lane. It looks like 5-minute aggression coming out from Tongfu right now into their own jungle. Mary's going to be on the Visage. We'll see CJC. He'll be on the Pugna. UU9 or U9 will be on the Dragon Knight. And XBC to round it out on the Crystal Maiden base skip. Why don't you go ahead and do Team DK?
Yeah, so over we have XPX or Ice, I believe, on the Veno. Burning is going to be on the Alchemist, a hero that we haven't seen him on for a little bit. Mushi's going to be on his signature OD. MMY or Dai is going to be on the Rubik, and Lanham's going to be handling Leshrac.
Yeah, so far it looks like it is going to be, I think, a defensive tri-lane coming out for Team DK, and that's certainly not a bad pickup for them at all. And we don't know what they're doing with Tongfu Wanzhou up in the top lane so far. They're just kind of having all of their heroes here, but I think it should be the same, defensive try or something along those lines anyways. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, I don't think there's any incentive for DK to run an aggressive tri lane, just because freeing up their supports to roam over towards mid is great, and their solos don't necessarily win their 1v1s hard enough to justify attempting the aggressive try. Because you could just send the aggressive tri lane up, and then your OD gets roamed on all game by the Crystal Maiden and has a pretty sad time. So I like the decision from DK here. They've already got a smoke picked up on Lanham, so should be good to go.
And we mentioned in the early game in the draft, we talked about, like, roaming is kind of an issue. Like, you need to have that happening early on for you to maybe just secure your mid lane. And already the double damage coming out from DiamondY, he's going to go back down in that bottom lane. He's not going to worry about roaming mid just yet. They do have that smoke of deceit like you talked about already, and they'll probably use that effectively and go for a kill early on. I mean, you know, Dragon Knight's not the easiest hero to, like, just get out of there when he's in a bad time.
MT might get straight up first blooded here if he's not careful. He doesn't have any information as to what the rune was. He's got no vision. Yeah, and Burning's already skilled concoction, so DK want this, but
they really do. They're going to roam in. Right. The double damage, I mean, he's fine. He actually has Timber Chain, which should save his life. Telekinesis back, but he's just going to go ahead and eat a tree, and he actually took a lot of damage from that double damage rune, though, so he does have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, well, good awareness playing safe at the start. He knew that he didn't see the rune and didn't know where the supports were just yet, so did end up skilling the Timber Chain, so that might end up hurting him a little bit, but so far things seem alright.
Yeah, I mean, most Timber Souls like to go for the reactive armor, even in the offlane at level 1, so he decides against it. He wants to have that mobility and the maneuverability, and he'll just keep that in mind for now. But, you know, he shouldn't get too much here in this offlane, and same thing in the top lane right now. But the thing is, you see Ice, he's already pulling this camp, and this is what Radiant has to their advantage in the offlane. They can pull the camp and get something out of it as well.
Yeah, and Ice is just going to be a nuisance. You know, he's not up here to get a whole lot of farm. He's just up here to get a bunch of levels, sink a whole bunch of points into wards, and hold on to this tier 1 as long as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, and he'll do that with Plague Wards, which is already skilled up at level 1 right now. There was actually a Smoke of Deceit coming out from DK with Dai and Lanham here as well. They're looking for, you know, maybe trying to get a kill behind the tower on MT. Acid Spray already comes in from Burning, who's got a decent amount of last hits here early on, and he actually doesn't go for Grievel's Greed. He wants to be aggressive with the Acid Spray and with the Unstable Concoction. MMY is going to go ahead and roam through. They see MT, it looks like. Telekinesis should come. There's the Chakram, excuse me, the Whirling Death. Unstable Concoction, nice Split Earth coming through. Unstable about to go. Timber Chain roaming in as well. The right clicks. MT may go down to first blood here, and shall. And it's actually going to get split up between the heroes, so nobody actually getting that first blood. It's just going to go to the creeps, as you can see, it looks like.
Dire's bottom tower.
I really like the way that DK played that. They smoked around, they shoved the wave in with 2 points in Acid Spray, and picked up a very straightforward kill. And they got some good damage down on the tower as well. Sometimes the problem with the offlane Timbersaw is pushing into him. You give him level 6, and then you can't take the tower because he just Chakram spams and gets even more levels. But if DK can pull that same move again, they should be able to get the tier 1.
And just like that on the top lane, another trade going through. That's Tongfu grabbing the kill on Ice on that offlane. Venomancer looks like he just got another blasted down. And, of course, the Crystal Maiden coming in from the side with the Frostbite. So, you know, it's just a nice kill coming from Tongfu, and they need to trade effectively to get back into it. I mean, just to keep it even, I guess. Just balanced, if you will. So
I didn't catch if the CM smoked or anything there. Looks like maybe she... Oh, I guess it doesn't make a difference either way. Ice doesn't have a ward on the top side of the map.
Right. So she'll buy another one, actually, and maybe look to go roam mid this time around. But, yeah, I mean, you look at Ice, he's got no vision here, and that's kind of problematic. He does have the Plague Wards, but it looks like nothing was in the jungle. And I think, actually, the Crystal Maiden came in through from the river to grab the kill anyways, or to at least grab the Frostbite, so... It was just a good rotation coming out from the CM, but still, it's 1-1 early on. The mid lane matchup is actually 15 last hits for Mushi, 7 for the Dragon Knight. Not a big surprise there.
Yeah, the DK isn't here to get a whole lot of farm. He's just a hero that doesn't die to the OD at least. So.
Yep.
And DK gonna make an attempt at this tier 1 tower bot. They've got a siege creep. They've got the 2 points in the Acid Spray. We'll see if MT can maybe pull the aggro off and be a little bit cheeky. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't die.
That's the key. And he's not dying in this bottom lane is kind of important. I mean, he's got to be careful. He's already died once, and plus the phase boots are done for the Alchemist now, so he has a bit more damage. And there's levels up on MMY. You see the Edicts already coming out. The fortification immediately from Tongfu Wanzhou. And MT will sit back behind this tower. He's not going to pull the creep wave right now. He looks like he's just going to let this go. No rotations. In fact, actually, there is a rotation from the Crystal Maiden, but a bit late. So just like that, Leshrac grabbing the last hit on the tower, and a very quick tier 1 going for DK.
And looks like DK maybe considering going for 2, so the Crystal Maiden rotation might actually be worth it at the end of the day. I think she just got spotted by the Rubik on the edge there.
Yeah, she's going to try to do something here. It looks like she wants to at least jump out at them, but they've got plenty of, you know, damage to deal with. This Burning actually doesn't have all that much mana, however, so they might have to be careful. Lanham's also rather low in health, so there is a rotation from UU9, and he's actually got a double damage rune bottled. No Elder Dragon form just yet, and if he had that, then maybe they'd be a bit more aggressive here, but sadly he can't get that level 6 fast enough, and they do some damage to the tier 2 tower, clarity up, and get ready to go again for Team DK.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised. Like, normally with the Crystal Maiden here, you'd expect to maybe have the Pugna or the Dragon Knight with the TP scroll ready, but instead he just walks over. It ends up being a little bit of a waste of time.
That's just a lot of space created coming out for DK that gives Mushi more time to farm in the mid lane. There is a TP roaming through. It looked like actually... Was it canceled?
Got cancelled. It was the Pugna. He threatened the TP, but realized that they couldn't do anything, so he just cancelled.
So more space created coming out. I guess, I mean, you know, just kind of threatening that TP, pushing them back is nice. But they could just go again in a couple of moments. The thing is, though, Burning is kind of low. He's not level 6 yet, so Chemical Rage won't be able to get him back to full health. At least not yet, anyways. He's getting a Soul Ring, though, so that's always nice to have. I mean, he just wants to kill people rather quickly without any sort of hesitation. That's one way to do it.
Yeah, it looks like DK, the plan is pretty much just a 5-man. It seems. They're just going to pull the wave back bot, so they're not going to make another attempt at the tier 2. It's pretty low. They can go snag that at some other time. Ice, a little bit caught out top. Might be able to bring down Mary, however. One more right click does do it, and it's going to get finished.
Double damage!
That's always a good trade, though. I mean, like, 1 for 1, and off lane, he's pretty happy about that, I feel like.
Yeah, 1 for 1, and his tower is still on full health. So I think he's still accomplishing exactly what he's in the off lane for, and just being a nuisance as well at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. So ISIS is doing an effective job, but Tongfu is actually going to smoke up, and they're looking for something. I'm not sure what they're going to find. It looks like they're heading back behind the tier 1 tower in the top lane. There's a TP coming in. That's going to be, of course, from ISIS. Here to help them out is Lanham. They've got to know something's up, and then maybe some smoke is coming. I mean, everyone's missing from the map. Yeah, I mean, literally everyone for the side of Tongfu, but ISIS is sitting out pretty far. They're actually looking here at the top rune spot. Now they're going to wrap around through the river. They don't get spotted just yet, but the smoke does wear off, and we'll see who leads through. I mean, MT, he has that Timber Chain, so he could be the one to initiate. They have the Frostbite coming through as well. Now the Crystal Nova, Elder Dragon form, Timber Chain, the Frostbite, Poison Nova, doesn't matter. Breathe Fire, grabbing that kill, and that's just a lot of heroes committed for that engagement for Tongfu, but they get the kill at least, so...
Yeah, and they got the kill on ISIS, and he's dead for 20 seconds, so that worked out better than I thought it would. The 3 heroes smoked up, and then the Pugna immediately... He double-tapped his TP back to base to go and grab something, and I thought, okay, how are they going to shove the wave into the tier 1 now and go for the wraparound? And that's kind of why they walked over to the secret shop, realized that the Pugna wasn't there to push it in, and walked back into the river. But they pick up the kill, and they've still got some Dragon Form left, so we'll be able to get some damage on this tier 1.
Yeah, another blast is going to come out. However, the fortification comes before they actually get any damage on it just yet, but still... You see ISS TPing up here, and he could throw Plague Wards down, but it should fall nonetheless. The Elder Dragon form is still doing a bit of tanking to the tower, but they trade 1 for 1, it looks like, or at least for now. That's a tier 1 tower falling to Mushi with Edict from Lanham. And he actually has a Staff of Wizardry, which means probably a 4-staff coming up from Mushi early on in this game. Very early, in fact.
Yeah, what are you expecting to see from Burning? Because I think ISIS is handling the mech, so maybe just going to be something like an Armlet build? I think he's...
Yeah. I'd agree with
spent
that.
some gold. It's just going to be a Vit booster. Okay.
Yeah, the casual Vit booster is not a bad build either, but you know, you could go the Vit booster or the Armlet. I wouldn't go for both, and maybe he can go for a Shadowblade now. Obviously, it's not quite as good as it used to be, but still, Burning doesn't really care. He's going to take damage from the tower. Vit booster obviously helping him out there. Then the Edict just takes the tower down fairly easily. Splitter coming in. Now the Telekinesis on FT and the Unstable. The Edict damage is still going Fade Bolt, but they don't have enough damage to take down that tanky Timber Saw. Alliteration included, so he will get out of there alive for the time being.
But Tongfu just walked everybody bottom lane for that. The Pugna TP'd in, the Visage was walking across, the DK was walking across, and that's just a lot of time spent. I mean, ISIS, he's died 3 times, and he has 47 CS. So, I just feel that Tongfu WZ haven't really been allocating their time all that well, and they're falling a long way behind. They're actually down by 7.5k gold less than 10 minutes into the game.
How is that possible? Like, you look at that and you're like, okay, it's 2-3, maybe they get a couple of towers here, but then you look at like the gold chart and you're like,
Dire's top tower
But it's like,
is
why
under
does
attack.
Ice Ice have 50 CS?
That's true, that's another thing.
Dire's structures
Yep.
are fortified.
It's just DK, I think, finding more, spots on that map to farm, being effective, taking those towers, and I guess those towers do a lot for them. I mean, that tier 2 in the bottom lane, the tier 1 mid, obviously, and the tier 1 top is even taking a lot of damage. That's just Ice. That's him alone working on that tower. And that goes along with him getting a lot of the CS, so, I mean, just him being him, I suppose.
And for Tongfu, you're already starting to worry a little bit. Again, we've just got 5 heroes sitting in one lane. The Timbersaw is just sitting back in the trees. He's level 6, not really accomplishing much at the moment. And even if they 5-man Ice, I don't know if that's worth the time spent. Burning's still just quite happily farming bottom lane. Mushi's going to keep quite happily farming mid. And whenever DK have made a move, they've got a kill and then grabbed an objective, or just no kill and got the objective. Meanwhile, Tongfu, they've grabbed a couple of kills here and there, but they've never been able to turn it into anything.
Yeah, and the thing is, whenever they do grab those kills, maybe another objective goes for Team DK, and that's something that they can't really afford to, lose here at this point in the game. That's why they're so far behind, but they're looking for a wraparound gank on Team DK. Here comes U9. He's got that old dragon form, XPX, Ice, Soul Deception. He is going to fall empty with the Timber Chain to clean it up. D-Crab, Nether Blast, a lot of damage coming in. The Nether Ward doing work as well. 3 down. Tongfu turning this around. Mech's going for them, and this is a fight for them right now. With 3 down to Team DK, they clean it up. They're going to move forward.
DK get the tower.
Bottom tower is under attack.
I think it's very similar to what happened to Ice top lane before. You just eventually, when all of them are off the map, you have to say, look, somebody is going to get ganked. It's either going to be one of our solos, or it's going to be the 2 or 3 heroes that are pushing. Sort of have to deal with it. As Concoction flies out.
They want to fight this. Look at this. Poison Nova's going. U9 using his magic wand. Dragon Talon on him. Right clicks. He's trying to leave. He's slowed up. Split Earth coming through from on him. And U9 should fall here. In the end, they don't lose their tier 1 tower. Actually, they do in the end as the Visage picks it up with his birds, it looks like. They're still chasing after the Pugna. Astral Imprisonment already used. You can see it's on cooldown for another 7 seconds. Crystal Maiden frostbiting up. The OD, now the Venomous Gale, and the Split Earth. This is a dead CM right now for Leshrac getting that kill. They're still chasing after this Pugna, and he's actually going to get Astral here. They might even be able to pick this one up. They're wrapping around, coming through, and that's going to be Ice. Arcane Orb is doing so much work. He's got no mana left. He can't decrep himself. I don't know. The Sanity's Eclipse just being used to grab that kill. They turn it around again. Not done yet, it looks like. No, I mean, they're backing off for now. They say, okay, we got a couple of kills. Let's not, go too far. And yeah, they go for the Shadow Blade on Burning. So the casual Vitality Booster into the Shadow Blade, that seems to be a common build, and I like it a lot.
Can we rehost the call real quick? I don't know if I'm okay to you, but you're cutting in and out for me. So well, maybe just try rehost?
Yeah, I'll rehost real quick, so hold on. Okay, hopefully everything's okay now. Hello?
Sweet.
Are we good?
I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, Ryu was having problems the other night as well, so I don't think I'm dropping any frames or anything along those lines, but it's always good just to make sure, obviously. Alright, cool.
It's Skype, man. It's just, what can you say?
True story. God, Skype.
DK, move in mid. Tongfu, see if they can take this fight. I'm not even sure if they can. They do have a mech up. They've got the Nether Ward down at the moment, but Ice is swiftly dealing with that all by his lonesome.
Yeah, he takes that down so quickly. The Visage Familiars are coming through trying to stun up Team DK, and this is a very low kill game, but it seems like a lot of action has happened. I mean, the towers are going down quickly, and fights are happening left and right, but still, only 5-6 the score. At 13 minutes of that, I guess that is kind of a bit, but I'm not sure. Either way, high action game.
I mean, both teams have kind of similar lineups. It's about getting a little bit of an early lead and then deathballing from that point forward. But Tongfu WZ just not being able to execute their game plan at all. I mean, the Crystal Maiden got one nice gank off at the start of the game on Ice, and then pretty much spent the rest of the game wandering around the map, not really setting much up. And you can almost say the same for the DK. He was struggling mid against the OD. He wanted to go set something up. He walked the bottom lane, he walked back mid, he walked top. You know, in among all of this, they did manage to grab 1 or 2 kills, but DK have just completely outstripped them in terms of farm. Like 12k is the gold difference at this point. It's absurd.
Yeah, that's pretty excessive. I mean, like, it should really never be that high at this point in the game, but that's just Team DK, like we said, getting more off the map, and it's just Tongfu WZ not being effective. You mentioned them walking around, not really doing much, especially with the DK in that mid lane, which gives Mushi that room to farm, and they're paying because of that, and just a couple of other mistakes they've had here in the early game. So it's 5-6. Now there's an Aegis up on Team DK, and that is in fact going for Burning, and really I don't think he needed that with his casual Vit booster. He's also got an Ogre Club in the bank as well, which either is the start of a BKB or an SNY, or even a Heaven's Halberd, but I highly doubt that. But still, I mean, Burning's feeling pretty good about how his game's been going thus far.
It might take DK a little bit of time to push up onto the high ground, but you can see they're an experienced team. They're already just setting up to kind of play starvation tactics. They're just going to keep Tongfu WZ pinned inside their base, grab 1 or 2 items if they really feel that they need them, and then just kind of go from there.
I mean, they really are this experienced team, because every time I've seen Visage Familiars out, they've either taken a lot of damage or just died altogether. They're making sure that they're not getting the best of them here with any sort of stuns. They're not getting vision when they need to. And they throw up the Plague Wards. They're ready to go for this Tier 2 tower. While this is all happening, Tongfu's trying to trade for the Tier 1. I feel like DK don't really care about it that much. They have a fortification, potentially, so they can try to trade this, and they should. There's the fortification coming out from the Radiant team. The Dire team has one as well. Edict's already going. They shouldn't use it because they know the Tier 3 should be coming in a moment, the Tier 3 push.
Yeah, none of the DK cores have TP scrolls right now. The only person with the TP scroll on DK is actually MMY, so they were not backing off to defend that too.
They really weren't. That's actually kind of surprising. I guess at this point, they don't really care. Somehow MMY steals Visage Familiars. I don't know how that happens. Either way, it's fine. They'll try to push this back in. So the Edict is going through. They want to take this tower down. Unstable Concoction being charged and thrown just to try to do some damage to Marion, push him back in. Chakram's doing a nice job of making them turtles. Split Earth is going to keep pushing the wave out. The Elder Dragon form is up and ready to go for at least another couple of seconds here, but once that goes down, you know, Mech's already going for DK. They'll wait for the next creep wave and probably go in for the tower here. The Edict has already done a bit of damage. It's level 4 as well, so Tier 3 tower may not be long for... I mean, it shouldn't live too long in this scenario.
And Tongfu WZ don't really have any great ways to engage. I mean, they can spam down the waves, but that's about it. So DK can feel very confident just walking up onto the high ground. The only thing that they kind of had to be afraid of was a Dragon Tail, and like you said, the ultimate's now worn off. So
yeah, now he's not necessarily useless on the DK, but it's gonna be hard for him to do as much damage as he could have with that Elder Dragon form. That obviously goes without saying. But Visage Familiars are being used more effectively, I feel, for DK and MMY than for Tongfu. And with that, another Edict goes, and the story of the towers and the buildings.
Top tower has fallen.
Chapter 1, DK kills the tower. Chapter 2, they pushed into the racks in the Tier 3. Now they're looking for an Unstable Concoction on Burning. He's charging it up. He's going to throw it clearly on CGZ. They're pinging on him right now. They're not going to go on him. They just want this Rax, and this is just siege tactics. They haven't gotten a kill. 4-step out from Burning. You can see U9 actually has his Elder Dragon form up and ready, but the Raxes are gone without him having to kill anybody. Well, hold that thought as Mary's getting initiated on. Decrepify coming in from CGZ a little bit early. You see the Astral Imprisonment going out as well. Heads up, Dragon Tail coming through, Visage Stun, Split Earth coming through, Telekinesis, Nether Blast pushing them all back. Arcane Orb, Sandage Eclipse, immediate double kill coming out from Mushi, looking for more. MT taking damage. There's one in the Astral now. Unstable's gonna fly. Split Earth triple coming out from Mushi. A set of racks, 4 kills. Oh boy, GG, look at that. Too much damage, man. What a game for DK.
Yeah, just...
DK victory.
That was a very convincing performance from DK, I have to say.
That's about as DK as it's gonna get, I feel like, with that match. 18-32, they just played everything the right way. Didn't overextend. They lost maybe one team fight in the top lane, but other than that, just a strong performance. So, good stuff. Very good stuff. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here as we jump into game number 2 in just a moment. Reminder that we have a lot of Dota tonight. Like, I'm talking a lot of Dota. Once again, my name is Mont. With me tonight is Basekip. Hopefully you stick with us here as we're rolling through the evening, and we're going to jump into a quick break. Stick around, guys. We'll be right back.